Hey guys, nice to see you today. I am jazzed up about this video idea. It came to me actually last night during dance. I find I sit there and I just go through my mental video to-do list, and I feel like I do a lot of things on the absolute cheapest end of the drugstore, especially lately. I've been kind of fascinated with some of the lowest cost drugstore products and how good they are. I think I most recently did a $50 full face, and I've just really spotlighted some of those amazing things from brands like Hard Candy, Wet n Wild, Relove by Revolution, all those things. And I started thinking about the higher cost stuff from the drugstore because, as we know, prices are creeping up, and also the prices of newer things that come out are pretty high. And what higher cost drugstore makeup is actually worth it? With what products do I feel like, gosh, I love that so much, I'd be willing to pay that price and repurchase that thing? Or heck, maybe I think it's like high-end quality and we're getting some kind of deal with it being $10 and change from Walmart. I really honed in on those things that are at or above the $10 mark, which I feel is on the higher priced end of drugstore makeup. And I'm figuring this according to Walmart prices. So really, if you look for some of these things at Ulta, they might be several dollars more. Walmart tends to give the lowest price on stuff. That's just the way it is. So I am turning my picks into a full face look. There may be other things that I would also consider to be really good, $10 or over drugstore makeup, but I can't really fit it all on my face. So here's one example look of some things that I think are definitely worth it. The first thing, thinking primer-wise, gotta dig it out of the bottom of my little bag here. I thought about the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Glotion. This stuff is so good, and it comes in a little range of shades. And the Deep Glow color, I don't think I mentioned this in my dupes video. I don't know how I left this out, but this is so much like the Sunshine Drops from Drunk Elephant. I did mention it recently somewhere along the line. And it's a great little priming step. It gives your skin a boost, really. Just a little more color, but I've got one of the lighter shades as well, and they're really nice. They have kind of a smoothing feel, adding a little extra hydration, but not super duper sticky. I am a fan. I really have liked these. They've been around for a while, and I feel like the TikTok beauty space kind of brought them back into the conversation, which is a little bit rare. It seems like it's the new stuff that always takes off, but people kind of dug back for these, and they are really a special product. I've layered this stuff with so many different foundations, and the combos seem to work really well. There are a lot of foundations that can just benefit from the little bit of added glow, but it's not too much. See how I put that on? It's like, oh, that's pleasant, but it's not over the top. The other shade I own is the Light Glow one. This one just makes me a little more bronzy, and again, it's just like those Drunk Elephant drops, except I think they blend in with a bit more ease just on their own without being mixed in with something else. Foundation-wise, I have a couple here to mention that are over $10 and I think absolutely excellent and right up there with high-end quality. One is the L'Oreal True Match Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. I bought the pump for mine. That's why you're not seeing the dropper. It comes with a dropper that does not work wonderfully well. That is the downside, but the actual formula of this product is incredible. Medium coverage foundation, not overly luminous or tacky, sticky on the skin, but does have kind of a freshness about it, a lightness about it, and then it stays for me all day long. I've definitely used probably 2/3 of the bottle. That's a lot of foundation use for me, y'all. I have a lot of different foundations. For one to get used up that much, it's saying something. So I love that one. Oh, did I say the Lumi Glotion is $12.97? This is $14.97 at Walmart. So definitely one of my more expensive drugstore foundations. And then the other one I wanted to mention, a really different kind of foundation. This is for my fuller coverage lovers, but the CoverGirl Outlast Extreme Wear Light Airbrush Finish. We call this the Red Cap Foundation. Comes with a pump. This is awesome, and this comes in at $11.22, and the whole family of CoverGirl Outlast products wears really well, looks really fresh all day. One thing I've really enjoyed about this is that it's not too thick, but it does manage to give really nice coverage. There's a little squeeze tube concealer that also pairs really nicely with this, a powder foundation. It's just a really high quality range from CoverGirl. I think I'm going to use the True Match today because I really have enjoyed in the past the combo of the Glotion plus this, and I wear this in the shade, I believe it's Light 2-3. Yeah. If you buy these pumps, I'll link to them. You can get 2 pumps in a pack on Amazon. And I feel like I end up knowing how much I'm getting on my face more consistently every time. It's just quicker and easier. So pretty much a full pump is what I apply. And I would love to, of course, know in the comments section what products you believe are really worth their higher drugstore price tag. This one, like, gosh, I might pay even more for it if they snuck a high-end label onto this thing. It can definitely pass for a more expensive foundation, I think. But I'm blending it in with my e.l.f. Duo Complexion brush. Oh, just blends in like a dream. I even did a little self-tanner last night, by the way, so the shade is just incredibly on point, plus those bronzy primer drops underneath. It's all working together. As I shoot this, well, by the time this goes up, he'll be home, but Bubba's in Washington, D.C. He gets to go to the Supreme Court. I'm not sure all the specifics, but he gets to watch a case that has like local ties, I guess, that's being argued there. So that's a big deal for him. Neither of us have ever been to Washington, D.C. So him and some other guys are there right now doing that. Probably just starting to wake up. But here's my look that I've got right now. The whole look has a little additional glow because we paired the Lumi Glotion with the hyaluronic tinted serum. But still, to touch my face, there are a lot of things that have left me feeling more tacky at the end of the foundation blend. And this really feels a lot smoother and more mimicking the actual texture of my skin. The concealer that I picked that's over $10 and worth it is the NYX Bear With Me concealer. This is going to cost you $10.97 at Walmart, probably a little bit more elsewhere. They call this a concealer serum, and I wear it in the shade Light, and I do think this is a pretty unique formula. It manages to cover really well, but it's rather thin, and it doesn't give a drying look to the skin. At the same time, it's not too luminous. You know, I'm not about putting something really glowy on the under eye area. This really stretches. It's so thin and light. It only takes a little bit. Like, I squeezed out a small pump and I've got more than I need. I can just tell on my finger here. But I'm going to dot it around and also put it on some places I want to brighten because I know this shade is a little bit brightening on me. Blends in really easily with a brush. You could, of course, use a sponge as well if you like. Who do I think this concealer is for? I think it's for the people who really want coverage but can't seem to handle the, we'll call it sort of the Shape Tape genre of concealers, which, you know, L'Oreal has one, e.l.f. has one, Hard Candy Glamouflage, all those that seem to be the fullest coverage at the drugstore, you know, and really came out to give Shape Tape a run for its money. If you feel like you use those and they're just plain too dry on your under eye area, I think you'll like this because the consistency compared to those is going to feel much thinner, but yet it still has good coverage. Does it cover exactly as well as those? I wouldn't say it goes quite as far. But you could also use a little more of this and kind of, you know, compete with the coverage of those other products I mentioned. But I love it. It gives a real pretty look to the skin. Nothing looks too heavy. As we can see, the under eye looks vastly improved after I put that on. But yet looking up close, you just don't see product. I mean, it's really good. I think it's one of those things that could really go into some high-end packaging and people would pay more money for it. Next up, we're going to get into a little chat here about Physicians Formula. That brand as a whole, I think, puts out some things that are on the higher end of drugstore. You'll find individual products costing maybe slightly over $10, you know, for a powder, for a bronzer or whatnot. Some of these products are great. I mean, there are certain ones that they've put out, like the swirled powders, one that I've compared to an Hourglass powder before, and then they've got like a nice swirled blush called Natural Glow. That one's really pretty. I mean, I like some of these things, but it's really not the best value at the drugstore. But then they came out with something called the Butter Dream Team palette. I devoted an entire video to this guy, and this costs $14.98. $14.98 for all this stuff is actually Physicians Formula giving you a tremendous value. The Butter Bronzer in, I think, just the classic shade that first came out, it's a little bit lighter. This bronzer is the Matte Manoy, it's a little bit deeper. You've got the Butter Blush, which is different from Saucy Mauve. They call this one Saucy Mauve. I'm not holding it against the product. It's still beautiful, but it's not exactly the same as the Saucy Mauve you'll get individually, which is fine for me because I don't need two of the exact same blushes. There's a highlighter here that has more of that like creamy formula, but really intense. I've got a kitten that's apparently hearing activity in the girls' room and really wants in there right now. And then you're getting two of the Butter Believe It powders. One is the face powder, like a translucent powder, and one is the blush. Another thing you can do is combine both of these powders and get that like pinky toned under eye setting thing if you want. But it's a great variety. Think of it as setting powder, bronzer, blush, and highlight. For $14.98, it's a great deal, and I would definitely recommend blend it. We're gonna use that stuff today. I'm gonna go in with my Morphe Under Eye Bullet Brush, and I'm gonna go to the top part of this Better Believe It powder, see where the colors are lightest, and I'm gonna use that to dab on my under eye and just set my concealer. I'm really glad this palette came back into my mind because it is so easy and so handy too for just completing the full look. You could use these as eyeshadows as well, of course. As a little face makeup 6-pack. I'm now just dabbing across the whole thing and using this to set my T-zone. I don't think my face really needs to be set everywhere today, but I'm just making sure to get these areas where I can see a little wear down at the end of the day. Under eye feels smooth, not too heavy, even. Let's take a little bit of the Butter Bronzer that's right up here. We can do a soft contour and then we can build up with the other shade if we want to. I used to think like this shade was not enough for me, but now I'm kind of like, you know, pretty good. Oh, guys, if you're into cheerleading or if you're just kind of fascinated by college cheerleading, there is a great like documentary series on YouTube on the University of South Florida all-girl cheerleading squad. If you want to see some amazing coaches in action and kind of see like what a practice is like and the amount of work they do, it's so much fun to watch. It's so well done. I'm enjoying it to pieces. I'm all caught up. I can't remember which day a new one comes out. Is it Mondays? Because I think the one I saw yesterday had come out yesterday. Really, really fun to watch. Like, Bub wasn't even home yesterday. This was my after the kids go to bed activity last night. I watched 1.5 of these episodes and I was just like ready for more. So anyway, there's the light bronze. Now I can build it up just a little bit if I want to. Add a little bit of depth in the cheekbone with that matte Manoy. I don't feel like this one is overly shimmery, but there's a little satiny thing going on in the actual Butter Bronzer. I do think it would be cool if Physicians Formula could release these full face palettes in a couple of color families. You know, go even deeper, put the sculpting bronzer in one of them so deeper skin tones could really enjoy it, or just people who want, you know, the more intense options. Okay, really nice. Feeling so good about the complexion at this point, and we haven't even put on blush yet. Oh, guys, I've used this brush cleaner before, but I have it now in the spray bottle, and sometimes you just need the fastest option for cleaning brushes. The Cinema Secrets stuff. Oh. Just spray it on a paper towel, swipe your brush back and forth, and it is not only clean, but it is dry and ready to be used again. Like, awesome. I'm gonna go into some of this, what they call Saucy Mauve, but it's not just like the original. And swirl that on the cheeks. It's got a pretty satin finish. Just nice rosy look. And the other blush does show on me as well. It's just a little softer option, you know. You could actually layer a little bit on top and it kind of smooths the pores a bit. That matte blush right there. So nice. Okay, and then we'll do some highlighter. Can you get over the amount of steps in one palette? Even though this is kind of creamy, I still feel like I can pull in my Real Techniques setting brush to work with this product. And now it can be extreme. So I've gotten some applied. I'm going to dust off any excess there and now just begin using this to blend, because I want to look like just soft glowing cheeks, but not too off the wall. And sometimes, as we know, the highlighter can look one way when you're putting it on in the morning, and it can look another way in the rearview mirror. That's just what happens with highlighter. Fact of life. Look at that. So nice. So dig just a little bit with your brush just to ensure that that kind of creamy formula really gets on there. Swipe off any excess, and then this becomes strictly a blender, okay? Swirling, buffing over the top, and getting it really nicely worked into the skin to where we're not really seeing the makeup, but we're just noticing the glow, okay? If anything's left on the brush, pick it on up, wherever you want to go with it, however glowy you want to be. There we go. One palette, $14.98. Probably the best value in the whole video. Now guys, as far as eyebrow stuff, I don't think I own something that's over $10 and is in the drugstore category. So we'll just use some regular old under $10 stuff, okay? I'm using the e.l.f. Ultra Precise Brow Pencil, which I have in the shade Cool Brown. So it's just a skinny brow pencil, a lot like Brow Wiz, has your little spoolie brush on there. So if Bub's not home, after Bubba goes to bed, we think of it as girls' night, because at that point it's just me and Nookie and Biddy. So for these nights he's not here, which again, by the time this video goes up, he'll be back. But last night we did a little like a snack plate, a little charcuterie board, if you will, with some grapes and cheese and crackers and stuff. It was the most perfect night temperature-wise, just completely comfortable. Still as can be outside. Our trees are just like leafing out, you know, just starting to show their beautiful leaves, and we just sat there at sunset, listened to some music, ate our snacks. Every now and then we'll give them some caffeine-free, what they call fizzy drink, pop, and they think it's so fancy to have it in a cup with the reusable ice cubes. It's the little things that kids get a real kick out of. So we did that and it was wonderful. And then, like I said, I put him to bed and I watched USF cheerleading documentary. Save an idol for when Bub gets back. So we're all filled in now on that left brow. We're just brushing through. That cool brown shade is really good for me, is it not? And then I think I'll just take a little NYX Control Freak. I don't think this is over 10. If it is over 10, I do think it's worth it. It's worth it whatever the price is. A memory just popped up on ALEXA, my Echo Show thing, of me with a palette from Found. Remember that brand? That brand was really good at Walmart. What happened to it? They had some great products. Milani eyeshadow primer. I know this comes in under 10, but we're gonna definitely use that. For the eyeshadow palette, I'm using Milani today, but I would say there's two amazing drugstore over $10 eye palettes. One of them's just barely over 10, but it's the Maybelline Nudes of New York, which I just recently used. I'll link to the demo below. It's awesome. It is definitely the neutral lover's dream palette. It has everything you need. But then another one, this one's from Milani. It's $14.97 and it's called the Ungilded Most Loved Mattes. I haven't used this in a while on my channel, but it's beautiful for my all matte lovers who like some warmth and some rosiness, okay? This is not a cool palette, but it's beautiful and the texture's so high-end, so very luxe with this one. I think it's definitely worthy of that over $10 price tag. And you're getting 12 shades. It's a nice little wardrobe of colors, and that's what I'm gonna use today. I think I'm gonna go a little bit pinky with it, given the color of my shirt. And to the people who say, you never use any other colors, well, I got a very specific direction I'm going with this video today, and this is what fits. I'm gonna use Smell the Roses right here. And I just love the softness of these mattes. They're so easy. They're just a joy, a complete joy to work with, a joy to have in class. Did a teacher ever say that about you? All right, blendy blend. And Milani also has those multitasking face palettes, which are nice. They have face and eyes in them. They've put some nice textures into those if you're into that. But strictly talking eyes, I think this is my favorite Milani, just total eyeshadow palette. So I'm still just working with that one shade, moving it around a bit, making it take up some space, you know. Definitely gonna work in this shade here, no plum intended. Outer corner, this is gonna deepen us up. Look at that. Look at that intensity. I mean, these are so pigmented. So fun to work with. Okay, lovely. Maybe let's take a little bit of Busta Mauve right here. So staying in that row, and I'm just kind of letting it go on the outside of things. A softening shade. We've got several softeners in there. Shadow softeners right here. Any of those would do that kind of work. Thinking about patting something deeper on my outer lid. I feel like going down here to Cocoa Bean. So this is your deepest, darkest one, even though there's a lot of pigment really in all three of these as far as, you know, darkness goes, but this one's really the deepest. Cocoa Bean. And as you might be able to tell, there is a mirror in this one, which is nice. And we're patting Cocoa Bean in that outer corner. Nothing to it but to do it. So good. And then I plan to take my small pointed brush and just work this around a little bit more. But it's really just a nice, cool, dark brown. Small pointed brush from Profusion and really get it in there. And you might even add, like I can see a spot there. Can you see it? Where product didn't really go for whatever reason. So this brush is great about just getting it in there, working it around in small circular motions. Make it a small outer V, make it big. you decide. And you may not even need to put anything else on the brush because the shadow is an easy blend. It's blending on top of other shadows that were first applied, you know, and it's just, it moves, it works. And then you're thinking, I still want to see that kind of rosiness out there. So we can go back into smell the roses with our crease brush, and we can just let her come up like this. Sometimes once the darkness comes in, it shows you that you need more intensity to make it show alongside the darkness. So it's okay to correct and add. Then what do we want to do on our lid? We can stay in this family. We could maybe go over here to My Daily Latte. All these shades, you can mix and match them. They'll all work together, you know. This is just really smooth and almost looks kind of like skin tone type of shade there on the lid. What if we just went into a little bit of Don't Raise in Your Voice right here and just let some of that work into the look as well? Yes, we like that. All matte is fun. There's just a smoothness. It's kind of like blending practice, you know? Just taking my crease brush, blending over that, thinking about what we want to do on that lower lash line. I'm going to take a little cocoa bean. Oh wait, I got another thing. Before I do that, my eyeliner pick, which I didn't really have like an upper liner, liquid liner that I thought was so amazing and so worth being over 10 bucks. There just wasn't anything in that price range that was really making me think, wow. But there is something that I love using on my lower lash line, and it is over $10. It's $10.97, and it's from NYX, and it's the Epic Smoke Liner in Nude Haze. This shade is like universally good on the lower lash line. It's a thicker kind of teardrop or diamond shaped pencil there, so a little thicker than your skinniest pencils, and ends up going on a bit thicker than just your standard pencil, okay? And then they put a little brush on the other end. The way the pencil lays down, it's like the perfect thickness to where it doesn't even totally need to be smudged. I rarely use that little like teensy artiste style brush, but it's there. But you'll see here, I can use that, and I use it vertically, okay? So I really am getting the thickest kind of line, and it just doesn't need to be smudged, and it's so neutral, and it also lasts without smearing, but it gives you just the perfect like little bit of smokiness there on the lower lash line. Not too stark, and you throw this in with any look. Granted, you know, if you're doing a real specific colorful look, maybe you don't care to have this on, but like any neutral look, it's great if you want something on your lower lash line. It's beautiful, like easy. And then, you know, if you've got a specific color, you want to smoke it out a little bit, you want to add a little more to it, we can do that on top. I can go to cocoa bean, buff it, make it a little more smudgy or thick or whatnot, but I absolutely love that particular shade of that product from NYX. Alrighty, a mascara that's over $10 that I've actually really been liking as the tube of product has gotten a little bit older. So I've had it for weeks now, and I feel like it's building on my lashes really well. I don't have the greatest natural lashes, and formulas that are too wet or just aren't quite thick enough don't build super well on me. So this is the Telescopic Lift from L'Oreal. I know it's been viral, it's been talked about left and right, but now that I've had it a little while, I'm really enjoying it more. And that one does come in at over $10. It's $11.97. Now another mascara I love, it's under $10 at Walmart, just barely, but L'Oreal Lash Paradise. Love that one. Really love the thick kind of fluttery look that it gives. And I believe as I was looking at Ulta, that one's over 10 there. But to keep sort of some consistency in the way I'm looking at things, I'm just going by Walmart prices and Walmart availability. But yeah, this has gotten better with time. It wasn't terrible when I first got it, but I've definitely seen an improvement as the tube has dried out. Let me know if you're in that club as well. I've actually been wearing this one a lot more lately. If you're not familiar, the brush has like this flat, completely bare flat side where it kind of lets you load on some product, and then some short spiky combs, rows of combs going all the way around. So however you start, you know, you could start with those combs, and then you could get a little more product on with the flat side and then rake it on through. It is kind of a CoverGirl supersizer vibe, I feel, but it ends up giving me some really good length. And the combiness is really good for separating when your lashes want to come together a little too much, and you can kind of go through with that comby edge and pull them back out. It's like a built-in lash comb. Like, look at that one coat. I'm really pleased with that. And then I can build on it, but it's building faster than it was when it was brand new because the formula has just thickened up a bit and it just lays down a little more bold and fast, I feel. The birds are tweeting. Yep, it's 5:49. What's the weather gonna be like today? Oh no, I touched my nose. I'm getting a nice little fan of lashes for just like a few swipes through. Oh, it's gonna get up to 77 today. Then on the lower lashes, I'm gonna use some Cali Ray Come Hell or High Water. Old trusty, not drugstore. Finished mascara. I mean, very pleased with that. Now my last thing is for lips, and it's the Superstay Vinyl Ink. These are a little bit on the pricey side. They're actually close to $10. They're $9.99 at Walmart. They will cost you a little bit more elsewhere, but these are a really special lip product. I've enjoyed these. I've gotten them in multiple shades, including some of their more recently released nudes. The one I'm holding here is in the shade Koi. I thought it might work with what I'm wearing. It's a little bit cooler pink, but you've got a wand applicator here and you're gonna have some shine, but you also end up with a really long wearing and evenly wearing product on your lips. So let me go ahead and get it on. I think these are good for those people who really like the one-step lip because this is fully opaque color. It ends up looking very defined on your lips, so it kind of takes the place of liner, and then it's got some shine, which makes you think of the gloss, right? You don't need to get too much on. It's very opaque. There's not really any building necessary. But it's gonna do kind of a semi-set, all right? You're still gonna have some shine, but you're not gonna be overloaded. You're not gonna be bombarded with things transferring off. And I feel like once the shine does go, you end up still with very even long-wearing lip color. I've enjoyed these a lot. Maybelline knows what the heck they're doing with a long-wearing lip. I mean, we know about the Superstay Matte Ink crayons. Those have been around a little longer. They're not quite as high a price tag as these, but yeah, these are a special product. And you know, as I blot, a little bit may come off, but not much really. So I find those interesting. They've still got, you know, not like a glassy shine, but there is kind of a shine coming from the lips. Love that and really like that shade too. And then as kind of a finishing touch, you guys, you know how I like to go in with a little bit of a powder right in this zone afterwards. I would say let's go back to our Better Believe It stuff here and just let that kind of come on top. We're not taking away our highlight, but we're just sort of smoothing, perfecting, adding. That's why they call it finishing powder, right? And that, my friends, is my finished look of the pricier stuff at the drugstore and what I feel is really worth it. I would love to hear in the comments section if there are some other things that you think kind of fall into this category. We also have some brands that in general have a higher price tag, like let's say Pixie at Target, you know? What name did David give to lines like that? Mastige. They're kind of just jumping outside of the drugstore realm a little bit, but technically are still available in a drugstore. So yeah, if you want to mention anything like that, feel free. But I really enjoy the way this look came together. Some of my favorite parts, I loved rediscovering my Better Dream Team palette. Always love the combo of Lumi Glotion and the hyaluronic tinted serum. And also with the Bare With Me concealer serum, like those three are a great face combo for appearing light on the skin, appearing kind of glowy, but no stickiness. And I expect the look is going to wear great all day. Of course, we love Most Loved Mattes from Milani. We love the lips. Good look today. Thank you guys so much for taking time to watch, and I will see you again very soon. I love you. Bye.